Hi, I'm Aubrey.
Hi, I'm Kathleen. We're two friends having a good time.
I happen to be a Christian, and that's okay.
And I happen to be an atheist, and that's okay.
Welcome to the Christian and the Atheist podcast.
Let's dive in.
Hey guys, have you left a review for our podcast yet? Head over to wherever you listen to your podcast and do that right now.
And follow us on Instagram and Facebook at The Christian and the Atheist, and TikTok at Christian and Atheist.
Check us out on Patreon for ad-free content.
And speaking of ads, if you or your business would like to sponsor the Christian and the Atheist podcast, feel free to contact us to get started.
Coming up on the Christian and the Atheist podcast.
He told you that he was speaking to your sister and he didn't know that she had passed away.
I was going to save this for like an update episode, but I'll just say it in this one.
Go for it.
It's the 100th episode.
Yay! It's the 100th episode!
What are we, like, not even 2 years in?
Yeah.
Okay, technically
almost.
We are 2 years in when this drops.
If you do like the actual amount of times we've recorded, like day one recording to now, we've probably over 2 years. But come on. We're not doing
For sure. But 2 years in and 100 episodes,
Yeah.
I didn't know what we were doing when we started. But
you know,
like,
I still don't really know what I'm doing.
I know, but it's okay, me either. We just hit 100.
We just
and
did.
I'm literally like, wow,
Yeah.
that came quick.
Yeah, it feels it flew by. We wrote down the list of all of our episodes. Aubrey wrote it down, and then we read over it, and I was like, oh my god, this is. Some of these I remember, and this is old, and I'm like, oh my god, that was so long ago. But at the same time, it feels like it was 15 minutes ago.
I agree. So what we're going to do is go over our personal top 5 episodes. So they'll probably, so there's 10 episodes that we want to highlight. A few of them are the favorites to both of us. And then a few are like, we want to highlight, and I don't want to call them our favorite.
It's like, whoo, that was a wild ride. Here you go.
And what's funny was when I was like writing the list and being like, okay, it says morning show and then a number. And it does, like in the beginning, we didn't really put like a title to the morning show. We just put morning show. And then in the description, it says what it is. So we're not putting any morning shows in here, but I'm sure there's some good stuff in
I'm sure there is, but we didn't go back and re-listen to every morning show for the last 2 years. So
So, without further ado, here are 10 episodes we would like to highlight. So, I want to highlight The Rebel Mormon. It was season 1, episode 47, and both of us loved it.
Yes.
So, that was with Alyssa Hume.
Yes.
And she is she was living in Utah at the time. She's in Chicago getting her master's or something.
I know.
Getting that education. Anyway,
you go, girl.
I know, but she's a Mormon, but she's like a progressive thinking, like, on the liberal side of things. And so it's very interesting to get her input.
Yeah, I loved her perspective because a lot of the issues that I had with the Mormon church, she also recognizes, yes, these are issues and let's try to solve them. And that is so fantastic.
And I love, one of the main reasons I love the episode and who she is as a person was I could relate.
Yeah.
Being Christian and seeing these issues.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because I've walked away from the church I was in. And in some ways, I feel like we need to have another episode with her because I think she's still going to a Mormon church. But she had some issues with her word. I feel like I don't want to talk for her, but I think there's more to the story there, and I'd love to hear it. But I think that one's a really great one.
Yeah, it's fantastic. She's the best.
And then Permission Granted with Dr. Jennifer Bird. That one was so a big deal to me.
That one, your brain
did so jittery.
So many activities. I don't know how to say that.
When recording, it's a little cringe to listen to for me personally, because when you hear yourself, you know what the emotions I was going through. One, I was on zero sleep.
Yeah.
2, I was fangirling. And 3, this was a big topic for me because I've been reading the Bible and having a hard time with it. And her book, Permission Granted, Take the Bible in Your Own Hands, gave me permission to be like, okay, I don't like that there's not very well represented women voices in here. If there's not any, it's from a male perspective, and it's like, oh my gosh. And so that was in season 2. in episode 69.
She definitely like opened the doors for, like, it's what the book is called, Permission Granted.
Yeah.
You now have permission to rethink about this topic or evaluate this differently. And she definitely that opened the doors, I think, for you in a lot of
it really did
ways for your brain to go, okay, let's actually think about these things. Because shortly after book club, when that was in the middle of it, and several of our other books that were like the same feel of let's talk about deconstruction, let's talk about reevaluating faith.
Right.
Shortly after all that is when you started really doing those things hard. It was
a huge step forward in that. So then the next episode that I want to highlight that I liked a lot was Staying Mormon. That's from your sister, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's with Daisy
Crawford.
She is your sister and she's a hoot, but it's almost, I think it's because I see a lot of myself in both Alyssa and Daisy with seeing things it's kind of funny to say it like this, but like, because I'm like, I think I've adjusted and moved forward.
Yeah.
Out of this headspace and moved on instead of staying in the church that I was at. But I respect their feelings and wanting to stay in the community that they're in because it's working for them. And so I liked hearing like Daisy's perspective on that, but I also loved hearing about like growing up in the church. But like it was a piece of you that I got to hear about that's in a different perspective and stuff. That was cool for me. But yeah, that was a good one. I really enjoyed that one.
Daisy also is she's very good at recognizing the problems surrounding her in the institution and saying, okay, I'm going to try and solve them or fix them or recognize what they are for what they are and move on. And
which I don't know. She's just a wonderful, she was a wonderful guest and I loved her perspective. So my fourth pick of my favorites is Unbelieve with Marla Taviano. It was book club season 2, 71st episode. She is an author who writes books of poems.
Yes.
It was just republished with a publisher. She self-published
Marla.
Unbelieve.
Hey.
I know, and she got us gave us the new edition with the new cover.
Oh, I'm excited. I didn't know that.
Signed it. I'm literally freaking out.
She's awesome. I love the way she thinks about these things and brings up topics that you don't even think about and go, oh my God, that's true. Oh.
She's a literal artist with words.
Yes.
And making that, like, turning poems into, like, I feel like when I learned about poems, I thought they had to rhyme and they had to look a certain way. Well, she took her experience with, like, growing up in church and being so devout and so involved, getting married and writing books about marriage and a Christian white perspective and being like, I don't know what the heck I was thinking. And like, just the journey through that was so beautiful to like, I'm glad she like put it in a book, and then she wrote another book called Jaded, and that was so good too. And it's a little more risque, I would say.
It's a little more, it's like she put it that Jaded is Unbelieve's sister. Yes. And I love it because it really is. There are two sides of the same coin, but Jaded is not held back at all.
Yeah, it's so good. And then she's wrapping up her third book for the series.
Yes.
And I can't wait till
it's going to be so good.
I wonder what the color is going to be because one's purple and one's green. And I'm excited to see the third one. So shout out to Marla because she has been through a lot and she's gave like people like us. I feel like you could resonate with her too.
Oh,
like,
so much.
So much that she
said. So much of her poetry really hit a chord with me. More so, I would say, than Dr. Bird's because of the topics and the
it's so good.
The process of documenting her process of deconstruction, which I was like, same, been there. Interesting. Yep. Footnote that one. Got it.
Having the physical book in front of you, there's space to write in, and that it was like an interactive book.
Yeah.
And I loved that. And going through it with you and being able to like talk about it.
Yes.
That's what I liked about the episode. That was really talking about the poems that we absolutely loved. So
yeah, it's great.
And then the last one that I highlighted that I loved, you agreed.
Yep.
This is one of your picks is this guy for real? Is when we saw We never said his name.
No, we didn't.
We still won't. No. I don't want him to come be like, give me money, I'm suing you, whatever.
You don't need to know his name. You just need to know that he was bonkers.
He was a psychic, self-proclaimed psychic. How do you know if someone's really psychic? I don't know, but I did not know about this guy. I wanted him to be real so bad.
I'm pretty sure he's not. I've got a pretty sneaky suspicion that he's making this shit up as he goes.
Yeah, you were a prostitute. You got.
Ooh, I was.
Remember, he did a past life reading and was really awful to Kathleen.
Oh, he was not my fan.
He was okay. Not. It was so funny.
That's so funny.
It wasn't funny the way that he acted towards you, but it was funny to like watch it back. Well,
it made for great content.
You were like the best, but watching it back, I was like, what an asshole. And I was over here like. Because I wanted him to be real.
You were so really hoping that he was going to pull out all the stops and be real. And he
was not.
Spoiler alert, did not do that.
So
when he told you that he was speaking to your sister and he didn't know that she had passed away. He was saying, I don't know if she's financially stable or something.
How is she? And he's like, not well.
And you're like, how do you be financially stable? She's dead.
Yeah.
And he was
like straight up was like, well, she's dead.
And he was like, well, yeah, I'm talking to her. She's right next to you.
She's really disappointed that you're not allowing your psychic abilities to come through. That's and right. I'm like, apparently I'm psychic and I don't know it. I'm still working on that. It ain't working out very well.
No, so far it's not working.
I think intuition's there, but I don't know about like talking to dead people. Anyways.
Did you ever watch that show, Ghost Whisperer?
Yes.
I loved that show.
It was creepy but good. It was so creepy until she saw.
It was such a like soap opera show. It was along the same vein as what is it called? Not Walking with Angels.
Touched by
an Angel. It's like the same show. Just
a little more definitely no religion involved, but
the same feel. I loved both of those shows. That. Anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love to get a DVD. I almost want to jump on YouTube and see if I can watch an episode and just that could be fun.
Touched by an Angel?
Okay, this is a little off topic, but it goes with the 100th episode.
Let's hear it.
Something I want to do, I may or may not keep this in there, is you know how they like do drunk history?
Yeah.
So we can take shots, like watch something religious or something atheist and take shots anytime they say something.
That's hilarious. We could do it with the Book of Mormon movies I grew up with.
Yeah.
The seminary videos. That would be hilarious.
Yes. And like...
That would be hilarious YouTube content. That would be hilarious
We could do audio too. But
yeah, for sure.
Anyway, so yeah, I think that doing something like that would be funny.
I think it'd be so fun. I think it'd be hilarious. And now that... Because we had an idea like this like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
but because you were serving in church, you were like, oh, I don't know if that's inappropriate or puts, my leadership.
Well, it said you're not supposed to get drunk.
Yeah.
In the Bible. So
now that you're not doing that,
what's going to be your drink of choice?
Oh, boy.
Should we do like actual liquor or just like...
Yeah, I think we should do...
like real shots.
Yeah, but I think we should make good shots. Not just straight liquor, but you know the ones they make...
flavored.
Yes. The ones... We had one at Kilkenny's one time that was an apple pie shot.
Yeah.
It was so good. It tasted like a caramel apple. And I was like, yes, this I can do.
That's the one.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
For sure. Because I can't do just like tequila.
That's what I was doing. Whiskey?
Yes. I mean, I can. I've done that many times. But I don't want to.
No, because I literally got shots and I got like drunk paranoia.
Yes.
And I don't want that. I'll never do that again on purpose.
No me gusta. Okay.
Amen.
Okay, so my first pick was, besides The Rebel Mormon and Is This Guy For Real, because those were both some of my favorites, but is the episode we did with my sister-in-law Brittany, season 2, episode 55. I Hope They Call Me on a Mission. It's where she talks about her experience as a Mormon missionary, and it's so fascinating. Not only just the experience of what a mission is all about, but her perspective as a female missionary and the way it affected her long term and affected her now and how it eventually led her out of the church is so fascinating. Plus, I love her.
Yeah, and something that stood out to me was she and her husband, Justin, bonded over the fact that neither one of them really liked going, their missions. They didn't, like, you hear other Mormons be like, oh my God, I went on my mission, woo!
Yes.
And she was like, I have issues right now with the way, like, this is, like, I'm back home, sitting in this church, listening to these people, and they're, like, a joke.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that, she doesn't mean that in a way, but, like, in a, like, she was hardcore into the Mormonism, and then
took a step back.
And it's like everybody's surface level, and it's like, oh, okay.
Well, and in Mormonism, it would be a very taboo thing to talk about how you didn't like your mission or you had problems on your mission. It's like if you as a mainstream Christian left church and posted, that was so boring, I hated it, church sucks. Everyone would be like, get out.
Jeez.
Wow, we don't like you.
Why are you here?
Yeah, it's like that. It's very much like, you don't do that. You lie. You say you loved it. Otherwise, you don't talk about it at all.
That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, and so the fact that they were able to find each other and talk about and bond together is special. Yeah. But yeah, that's one of my favorites. The second pick is Season 1, episode 33. I'm pretty sure we're so green in this and so bad at it.
This was a new one. This was like one that we threw out there because we didn't want to have to record and we were busy. Yes. And we were like, here, let's do Dating Nightmares. Oh, sorry.
Dating Nightmares, yes. It's one of the first things we ever recorded and we threw it out later, but I guarantee you going back to listen to it, our recording is probably terrible and we're probably bad at it, but it is so hilarious.
It's good. It's so bad, it's so good.
It's so bad, it's so good. And listening to the ridiculous bullshit that we've done with dates over the years, the crazy stories.
That episode alone has gotten us a lot of male listeners. Yes. I know that's a funny thing to say, but like it's a good like how to not do this.
Yeah.
Don't Take be notes, this gentlemen. Guy.
Take notes, because none of these things worked.
I'm thinking about yours.
Oh my God.
And I can't think a single one of mine. I just remember a bunch of yours.
Listen, Mormon dating, especially at BYU, is a whole situation.
Yeah, but like...
That's crazy. But yours, you had...
I don't remember mine.
Remember there was one guy who like threw up or something?
Ugh.
Uh-huh. It was crazy.
There's wasn't my crazy date, ones. But that was on a... Yeah, that was...
You had some crazy ones.
I don't know. I can't remember. I just... leave that in the past.
You notice that none of these stories were with our actual husbands who we married?
Right.
Interesting.
No. Imagine that.
Yeah. Anyway, that one's one of my favorites, just out of hilarity's sake. It's so funny.
Yeah.
And then you know me, I love the Halloween episodes.
There's good.
2 of them so far. Both of them are Ouija boards in a graveyard. And I love that shit. It's so
a vibe.
Fun. And it's so fun.
It's a vibe. It's funny when we went to the first graveyard and is in a small town here in Oklahoma.
Your family plot graveyard.
And I was like, if we're doing this, we're going to talk to dead people. I need them to be on my side.
Yes.
And the only way I can justify this is if they're my ancestors. And we drive up. And this is a graveyard that nobody goes to.
There's 13 graves, and they're all dead 100 years. This isn't like your normal, and it is on dirt roads for an hour out in the middle of nowhere. And we drive up, and there is like 6 people in your family digging graves.
We drive up. We're driving. We can see it pretty far off. And I was like, oh my God, Kathleen, someone's here. Someone died and they're putting them in the ground.
Yeah.
And then we get closer and I was like, what if I know them? And we get closer and then we're like, oh my God.
You're like, that guy was the officiator at my wedding. I know him. And we have to be cool and not give away that we're unpacking a Ouija board. And I'm wearing ridiculous outfits. I have like a floor-length black gown.
Your big black hat.
Oh my God, my hat, which is like the wingspan of a bald eagle. Yeah. It's huge.
It's so ridiculous.
I've got bejeweled platform stilettos and black lipstick.
And like, what are you doing here? And I was like, I don't know.
we're mapping.
So I was like, yeah, we're gonna do a history of my family episode.
Yeah, sort of.
And he's like, send that to me. And
won't.
I was like, absolutely.
Will not.
Did not do that.
No, we didn't. And then the backstory of that episode, we do the whole episode. We almost died. Your car, like, there was a mess. We got like 4 flat tires. We ended up we couldn't find anybody to fix it. It was a game day in Stillwater, and there's nobody around. Every tire shop
Everything was closed. On Saturday.
We had to drive like 2 feet at a time
and
to like fill up air.
Every time we stopped, we had to stop at that was nuts. That's a fun story.
So the episodes, both the Halloween episodes, one in season 1, one in season 2. The one we're talking about, the first one is there anybody out there? And then there's the behind the scenes episode right after it. Both of those are ridiculous. And then the second one is a lot less.
Was it Give Me a Sign?
Yeah, it's like Give Us a Sign or something.
Which was cool because 2 things in that episode. One, we got to video that one.
Yes.
And so one of the things I like about those episodes are the video or the pictures we get out of it.
Oh my God, they're so fun.
The TikToks we were able to make with the first season, and the second season we did video and put it on YouTube.
Yes.
I think that was our first YouTube video.
I think so.
I'm not sure, but I think so. And then we were Ouija boarding it up in a butterfly lands.
Yes.
And it felt like a sign from my sister.
Yeah.
So I appreciated that. And then while editing.
Oh my God. I remember we get home from all this, you're editing, and you send me a text, and it's like, oh my God, there was a guy
walking behind.
And I was like, no, there wasn't.
Or me, or
we would have seen a man.
We were looking. This stuff freaks me out.
You were eagle-eyed. Listen, you guys don't understand how uncomfortable this makes Aubrey and how stressed it is for her. I'm not
chill at all.
Not even just like the Ouija board aspect. The fact that we're in a graveyard and there's cars driving by.
I don't do dead things.
And like she's very hyper aware of being respectful to the people around us that may be, what if someone's coming to visit their loved one and we're parked on their grave with a Ouija board? That's not good.
And inappropriate.
And so she is like, every time a car would drive by, especially the second one, because there were no cars in the first one. But in the second one, you would like stop and
I'm sorry.
Watch them and be super aware. And so the fact that there was a man in the graveyard with us
walking around
and we never saw him.
We highlight it. Yeah. It was wild.
He definitely wasn't a ghost, but he could have been because we never saw him.
I say yes. Because where the heck did he walk to?
Great question.
That's where I'm at with that.
And how did we not see his whole face?
Right.
We don't know. And so the last 2 that we have tagged are not even really favorites. They're just like, go listen to...
You want to hear about this that we want to highlight?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah.
Go listen to this cringe fest or this glimpse into our unhinged brains.
Which
both are. So the first one is the episode we made right after we got in the car wreck.
So that's
season 1.
We could have died, y'all.
Season 1, episode 35. We recorded that literally like the next day.
No, it's Friday. We got in a car wreck on Tuesday and we recorded it on Friday.
But halfway through recording it, we stopped to go to the doctor together to get checked out at the car wreck clinic in town. And then had to come back after and finish recording.
Oh my gosh.
We were sore.
We've been through some things
we
together.
We had concussions. We were sore. Our backs and necks hurt. We kept like turning to look at stuff and being like, ow. And we were
still in shock.
Our brains were not plugged in that day.
I remember editing that one and being like, oh my gosh, we're spazzes.
Yeah.
I don't feel the same way I felt when I recorded that because I was just all over the place.
Our brains were not there. My brain was still on the side of the highway with the wreckage of my car.
We really did get in a bad car accident.
We really did. It was rough.
Away. And it was actually awesome to be able to walk away from.
Yes.
Like a huge flex on both of us.
For sure.
And it was also like traumatic.
Yeah,
I'm okay now. How are you feeling?
I am too. Every once in a while, I do still get a
Oh, I still like cringe.
Like, if a car pulls towards me on that side, I still like, for a minute.
Oh, yeah, like, because of how it happened. But yeah, so it was, I think I'm better in my everyday, but in driving, like, being a passenger, I'm not necessarily like without issues. I'm able to keep it cool for the most, but inside I'm dying.
I definitely, when I drive on that stretch of the highway, every time I'm like, that's where I almost died.
Me too.
Every time.
Like, right? And like, I see like you see the scrape on the road?
I'm
literally like,
there's an indent in the highway where my car scraped it, guys. And it's still there a year and a half later.
It's crazy.
And I drive over it every time. I'm like, oh, that's part of my vehicle.
That was a crazy day.
But yeah, that episode is bonkers. It is a roller coaster of emotions. And it's nuts. But it is definitely, like, you can feel how stressed and shocked and crazy we are.
We were scrambled egg brained.
Yeah. For sure. Literally, I had a concussion. Literally. At that doctor's office, they were like, yeah, you definitely have a concussion. I was like, yeah, I feel like I do.
I was like,
do you remember at the doctor's office, they were like, are y'all okay? And we were like, no.
We weren't.
We weren't.
It's like, we were drunk. We were drunk, but we weren't drunk. You know what I mean? Like, we could walk normal.
Yes.
Carry it, but we were kind of goofy.
Oh, we were. That's a concussed brain. Remember, we were waiting in the waiting room, and you fell asleep in the waiting room. I took a picture, and like,
I was resting my eyes.
Sure, Dad. All right, 45-year-old Dad. Oh my God, that was a whole mess.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want a glimpse into the unfiltered depths of our brains, there it is.
That's the one.
Yeah. And then the last one that is not necessarily cringy, not necessarily like unhinged or whatever. And it might be to you.
I'm over here like, don't go listen to it. But Kathleen, I think okay to say this, I guess.
So one of our first episodes, like, it's like episode 11, season 1. And it's Aubrey's journey with the church. And it is you talking about your issues that you've had with Life Church and why you've decided to stay there. And it's super fascinating to compare that episode to what we've been doing the last 6 months with Life Church. I mean, when this drops, it'll be like, I don't know, whatever.
It's not been that long, has it?
I don't know. I'm not going to do
June.
I'm not going to do math. Okay, so if it's in June, when July, this drops...
August, September, October.
That's 4 months. Okay. Great job, us. We did it. We've graduated kindergarten with the best of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just think it's interesting to hear what has stayed the same in your faith journey and what has changed.
I might have to listen to it again, but I think it's cringe, but it's also like a great testament to our evolution as people in general. It's not necessarily like with my religion, yes. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that there are things like even with you that you've done that maybe you just kind of either healed or moved on from a situation, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like a gift to be able to be recording in these days.
Well, even in the scope of the podcast, if you listen to my first few episodes of why I left Mormonism versus the series we did about the temple, there's a huge difference in my like attitude of regards to Mormonism.
I have to agree.
And the podcast. In the beginning, I was very reluctant to share anything.
That's
very scared to talk about things that might hurt anybody's feelings. I didn't want to really talk bad about the church. And then as I've gotten more comfortable with podcasting in general, I am able to...
And just sharing your voice.
Yeah,
like giving power to your voice. Yeah. An opinion. That's so true.
Yeah. I bet the difference between those episodes and now, there's probably a big one too. It's interesting listening to yourself because we started recording, what was it, 2021? Mm-hmm. So that's April. That's 2 years of growth as human beings, both separately and together as friends and podcasters and a partnership. And, you know, there's a big difference in where we were then versus where we are now. I think it's interesting.
Cool, but I'm like, it's still so cringe.
Yeah,
it's like reading your Facebook post from 15 years ago. It's like,
do you know how often I delete those?
I've been deleting.
I delete them. If it's terrible, I delete it.
Yeah.
There are some that are like super Mormon heavy, like where you can tell the Mormon church said you need to share this, so I did, and I delete those hard.
So I used to sell like Pampered Chef.
Oh yeah,
I delete those.
Yeah, the stuff that's like from college where like Facebook was different. You know, when you first joined Facebook and they like the status was worded different. I don't delete those.
You say is
yes.
It says what are you feeling? Aubrey, it would say your name and then you like,
it would say Kathleen is, and then you fill in the blank. And so all of the statuses would just be like, is listening to music. Yes. Is studying for finals.
Yes. Is not wanting to go to her blah, 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 blah class.
And so I'd leave those because I think it's interesting. A glimpse into the past.
Yeah.
But the Mormon stuff I delete because who needs that shit?
Yeah. I mean, I was going to save this for like an update episode, but I'll just say it in this one.
Go for it.
It's so much stuff that I've ever posted is so Live Church heavy, because they make it easy. They make graphics. They have the YouVersion Bible app, and you can share Bible verses or just my praise the Lord, yada yada. And I'm like looking back,
you go to Sunday worship, and you're like, that
church
was so
good.
great,
a picture
and
in
you
the
post
church.
it.
Absolutely,
that's what you do.
Good, but I'm like, I look at it now and I'm like, holy crap!
Dang it!
It's kind of like I feel sorry for her.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I'll put this in there. Another person who's young, just out of college or in college is posting like, I had the most amazing summer with eye-opening things that the Lord has brought to me. And I don't know that I don't want to disregard that. Right. Because I think that spiritually you can like grow with the help of like what you feel like is God.
Absolutely.
I don't know. It's weird. It was a weird feeling reading it and being like evaluating it with a different brain than I normally do.
It is. It's really interesting. I'm glad that social media started when we were in college and not when we were in middle school because
But do you not remember MySpace? I wrote crazy on MySpace.
Do I remember MySpace?
Did you not like the stuff that in Zanga and the stuff we did on that?
Yes. Absolutely.
Cringe.
Absolutely. My MySpace is gone to the sands of time. My Zanga has gone to the sands of time. I couldn't find them if I wanted. My MySpace got deleted, I know, because I deleted that myself. I was like, no, I'm done here. The end. But even still,
makes me wonder.
I joined Facebook when it first started in like 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
And it's a different beast back then, y'all.
It is, and social media is funny, but
yeah.
Anyways, so that is our 100th episode.
Yeah.
We hope that you guys enjoyed listening to our little like walk through memory lane.
Yes.
And
we want to hear your favorite episodes. If you have one that we didn't touch on, please.
Which one did you guys love?
Yeah. Comment on a post somewhere and tell us, because that would be, we'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah.
All right. Well, we'll catch you guys on a new episode.
Yeah, on our 101th episode.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm going to go home now. Bye. Okay, bye. I'm going to go take a nap.
Catch you on the next episode.
I got to leave.
Bye.
Bye. Have you guys checked out our merch yet?
We have awesome t-shirts, mugs, tumblers, and other fun stuff.
Head down to the link in the description to give it a look.